Okay, now we are back in Genesis chapter 12 still, and we are continuing on with Abram as he begins to travel along. Now, there was a famine in the land, and Abram, we're at chapter 12, verse 10. Abram went out down to Egypt to live there for a while because the famine was severe. As he was about to enter Egypt, he said to his wife Sarah, I know what a beautiful woman you are. When the Egyptians see you, they will say, this is his wife. Then they will kill me, but will let you live. Say you are my sister so that I will be treated well for your sake, and my life will be spared because of you. Now, it would have been the custom during this time for the Egyptians, for the pharaohs, for any king in an area to be able to take a wife of anyone who that they spied out, and they would just kill the man and get the wife. But it would have been different if he was the brother, because then they would have a bride price to pay, which is what they did later. So it would have been dishonorable to kill a brother, but honorable to kill a husband. It would have been dishonorable to just take a woman from a brother, but not dishonorable to kill the husband. And so that would have been the custom during the day. So when Abram said to do that, it would have been the right thinking. Now, does it blow your mind away that she was at least 65 at this point, and Abram's looking at her going, hey, babe, you're one hot chick, and these guys, these men are going to want you. Wow, what a amazing, to be 65 and to have my husband worried about that. Wouldn't that be an amazing thing? So was she his sister? That is the big debate too. But we look back over here at chapter 11, whenever it says that she was the daughter of Haran. That's not talking about Milcah, that's talking about Sarah. She was the daughter of Haran. Now Haran was actually Abram's brother, but Haran had died, leaving those children back under the fatherly authority of Terah, who was still living at that time. So he would have been considered his sister, but actually she was his niece. And intermarriage was perfectly legitimate during this time period. And even in some cultures today, you can marry pretty closely. Here in Texas, you can marry your second cousin, which I was shocked when I found out how close that was. But anyway, that aside, he didn't lie about her being his sister. And then when Abram came to Egypt, the Egyptians saw that Sarai was a very beautiful woman. Indeed, she must have been. And when Pharaoh's officials saw her, they praised her to Pharaoh, and she was taken into his palace. He treated Abram well for her sake, and Abram acquired sheep, cattle, male and female donkeys, male and female servants, and camels. Now, what this is saying isn't talking about how rich Abram got. What this is saying is what the bride price was. So, wow, she was incredible to have acquired sheep and cattle and male and female donkeys, male and female servants, in other words, people, and camels. So she was worth a ton of money to Pharaoh. And Abram took all of that wealth. Now, but the Lord inflicted serious diseases on Pharaoh and his household because of Abram's wife Sarai. So Pharaoh summoned Abram. What have you done to me? Why didn't you tell me that she was your wife? Why did you say, she's my sister, so I took her to be my wife? Now then, here's your wife. Take her and go. Then Pharaoh gave orders about Abram to his men, and they sent him on his way, and his wife and everything he had. So he didn't take away the bride price from him. He said, just go ahead and take it all. That's fine. Just get this disease away from me. See, I think it's very curious why Pharaoh didn't go ahead and kill him at this point and go ahead and take the wife, keep her. She was already in the harem. Why not keep her? But by the grace of God, the Lord knew, and the Lord's plan for Abram, the reason he struck down Pharaoh, didn't let Abram go ahead and finish this folly, was because, you see, Sarai was important. Sarai was important not just to Abram, but she was important to God. She was important to God's covenant with Abram. Now, whenever we see the ancient people groups, the woman was always a side message. She was, she was blessed because of the husband, but whether she was there or not was irrelevant. But see, that wasn't the case with God. With God, it was about Sarai too. So this idea that, Christianity, Judaism, they minimize women, that is not true. Because right here, God begins to speak into this heart of this man and say that women, this woman you have here, she is of equal value with you. And she's not disposable. So if you have ever felt like in your life as a woman that you are disposable, that is a lie from the devil, because you are not disposable. And the Lord proves it right here at the very beginning of all things. The Lord says, you, not only are you so valuable, but you are so valuable that I'm willing to protect you with all of my might. That's how valuable you are. Now, Abraham goes ahead and he begins to go ahead and go forward. As our spiritual father, he trusted God. This is the pattern we're seeing in his life. He trusted God at first, but then he disobeyed him by gathering up all of his family back here in the first of 12, when his dad went with him and his nephew went with him. He was told to leave them, and they went, and they caused him to settle. And he settled in Haran for a while, and then we're going to see the trouble that Lot brings on him. So he disobeyed, but then the Lord said, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and take you out from here because my promise is good. Even though you're not always perfect, my promise is still good for you. And you're going to continue to trust me. Then Abram became fearful about losing his life. Here God had provided for him, was taking him and directing him, and he becomes fearful because of what Pharaoh's threat will be against his wife and against him and all of this. So here's this great man of faith, that he is the father of our faith, and he begins to become fearful. Oh my goodness, how many times have I felt like, you know what, Lord, I feel like I've settled, and I just don't know if your promise is still there for me. Can you still use me? And then sometimes I become fearful and I become anxious about something. And the Lord is like, you know, I still am going to use you, even though you have become fearful. I am going to use you. And that's what the Lord does here. Even though Abram has messed up, and now he's messed up again, and the Lord rescues him and actually provides a really lucrative answer to Abram's situation, which is very interesting because there are times that even though I have messed up, the Lord continues to pour his blessings on me. And I feel like, oh Lord, why? Why would you love me this way? But the Lord says, it's all here. I've done it over and over again. Do you think you're any less valuable to me than Abram and Sarai? You're not. And so he settled, he trusts God again, he became fearful. And then he tried to sell out half of the promise by getting rid of Sarai and letting her go. Now, he was trying to protect himself because he knew he was important to the promise, but the Lord said, no, she's just as important. Stop it. So God intervenes and makes it right again. Isn't that what he always does in our life when we mess up? He makes it right again. Now, Abram's able to set out on the right path. So if you ever feel like, you know what, I settled a long time ago, and I just don't know if the Lord has a new word for me. You know, I messed up and I became fearful, and I even went to the point of taking away half the promises because of the stupidity of my thinking, or because of the mistakes I made, or because of my fear, whatever the reasons. The Lord says, you know what, just take it up. Let's go ahead. This is going to be an amazing journey. Don't forget that my promises to you are for you and specific to you. And as long as you are living, those promises are alive. And I can make them come true in your life because you're that important. And the promises I have given you are to bless other people. They're not just about you. They're to bless others. So pick yourself up in my strength, in my glory. Continue to trust me and believe me. And I will be with you wherever you go. You guys have a great day. Blessings.